We are live from Raven Street Dance Studio in Hollister, North Carolina. Hi, everyone. We are blessed today because we have quite a few participants that have shown up for our smoke dance class. The famous Valerie Parker is here. And we are just very honored that she is here. So we are going to learn a lot today. All right, start however you want.
Started?
Yeah.
Like an intro of myself?
Yeah. Or I can start from reading this. You want to hold this?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, we have some literature today. I hope, did all of you get one? Okay, we're going to read through it. It's the origins of the smoke dance. Like we said, Valerie Parker is from the Seneca Nation, Tonawanda Reservation in New York. And starting with the first paragraph, the origins of the smoke dance. When there's smoke, there's fire. But one of the most compelling powwow dances done today, smoke dance, just might have nothing to do with either. A Haudenosaunee dance, smoke dance, is uncommon outside of the eastern region. As with many native dances, it has multiple tales of origin. The homegrown theory. At Haudenosaunee longhouses, the open fire pit would create thick smoke. Young men would dance to create enough air movement to push the smoke upward toward longhouse vents. Young women would help out with movements of their own. Yet though this is the theory that most closely relates to the dance's name, it's also the most unlikely. Osage and Haudenosaunee elders talk of the dance as a transfer between nations. The Osage did a dance until the mid-19th century that accompanied gift giving, either to visitors or within the Osage community. Key participants smoked pipes, hence the dance, I don't know how to say that word, of smoke dance, which later became synonyms with a giveaway dance. The main problem with this theory is the unlikely dispatch from the Osage to the Haudenosaunee, which some scholars explain by the close proximity of the Oklahoma Osage Reservation to Oklahoma Seneca land. Seneca is one of the 6 nations that comprise the Haudenosaunee. So displaced Seneca people could have brought the dance to the Great Lakes region, the original Seneca land and where the bulk of Seneca people live. But the likeliest origin of smoke dance probably has little to do with smoke and more to do with war. The 6 nations had dances that would help warriors prepare for battle. Once nations stopped warring, the dances became ceremonial, an honoring of those who came before. These dances, done solely by men, were slow, heavy, and dramatic, meant to incite or mimic the bravery required on the battlefield. In fact, another Osage Haudenosaunee possibility is that the Osage war dance Wasase, traveled upward to Iroquois lands. Osage elders speak of this, but its unlikelihood is unknown. Over time, as war dances had lost their original impetus, these dances became known as smoke dances. Enter the powwow circuit and the solidarity it can bring. Amid more common dances such as traditional and grass dance, the smoke dance would occasionally be done as a special dance, beginning in the 1920s or 1930s. Given that the slow dance's ties to the past were indefinite, it was a prime candidate for repurposing by dancers looking for a way to show off their athleticism and footwork. The dance's rebirth also allowed it to become known as a woman's dance. And today, though both men and women compete in smoke dance, it's the women's competition that often bring the highlight. While there's hardly a movement to bring smoke dance back to its possible warrior origins and thus banning women, there are occasional disapproving whispers among conservative tribal leaders about women's participation, even though women have been publicly dancing the current iteration of smoke dance since the 1960s. Today, smoke dance is strictly for show. It's a competitive dance or a special dance, not something that is generally treated with the ceremony it may once have garnered. And as a show dance, it's splendid. The fast beat prompts women dancers to seemingly fly across the dance arena with peppery steps. The men's dance maintains the verve but has a slower tempo, though both sexes use similar footwork. As with all dances, ending with the final beat of the drum is crucial, as is staying on the beat. Other than guidelines, the smoke dance is open to a variety of individual interpretations and styles. Music and regalia are kept simple. The music is a solo singer and a single water drum, though some singers will use a skin drum, yielding a deeper sound. Women's regalia, cloth dresses with raised beadwork or appliques, is kept relatively plain, as is men's regalia, bustle-free, often with a feathered cap known as a gastoe, and possibly an apron over a cloth top and pants, sometimes featuring flat or raised beadwork. The origins of smoke dance may be unclear, but its current life of fiery steps and entrancing speed is generationally bound to one or in one way that's certain. As Bill Krause, Seneca artist and singer, said in a 2008 interview with Indian Country Today about what we now call smoke dance. Really, smoke dance started with the older singers trying to push young guys and give them an outlet to show off. Call it showing off or call it skill. The smoke dance is a lingering trail of talent. This was printed from Indian Country Today and written by Autumn Whitefield. And now we're gonna have Valerie come up and just talk a little bit more about the origin of the smoke dance and anything that we talked about in the article. Then we're gonna get into, we have an outfit here and each of its parts.
Yeah, what's going on? My name is Val. Everyone calls me Val. Valerie Parker, more known. That's my name. Joelle is my Indian name, which means flowers in her eyes. I got that name obviously through ceremony back home, through my clan mother. I'm a member of the Snipe clan. I live on the Tonawanda Indian Reservation, so I'm not quite upstate New York, but I'm central to Buffalo, Niagara Falls, 30-40 minutes either direction you go. I was born and raised there. I did haul off and live in Salamanca for the last 5.5 years. I did move home almost a year ago. But while living in Salamanca, or Allegheny Territory, Ohio, we learned a lot because our communities are very well connected. Tonawanda is one of the 3 Seneca longhouses within the 6 Nations, Haudenosaunee communities. Tonawanda, Allegheny, and Cattaraugus. Cattaraugus is our neighbor. Allegheny is a little bit further. It's neighboring to Cattaraugus. So I felt really at home when my son and I moved there. They welcomed us. We're pretty well known, like longhouse families are pretty well known anyways, as we do our ceremonies and social dances throughout the year. Many of you guys know or may not know that we have 13 ceremonies that we have to do throughout the year. So we pretty well see the same faces from all year round, really, summer to winter. So it's really nice, and then going in from one longhouse community to the next, it's very welcoming. So Allegheny treated us really, really well, and we learned a lot of different things about even just how their longhouse operates. A little bit slightly different. Nothing is different. They just operate some ceremonies or social dances, songs a little bit different than what we might do back in Tonawanda, but it all is done the same way at the same times. So going with smoke dance, the origination of it was a man's dance. Some today, some past tense, really frowned upon for women to dance. Much like men's fancy, women's fancy, we had to kind of earn our keep, so to speak. So the origination of that was to prepare our men so that they would be mentally, physically, emotionally, spiritually prepared for war. That's one origination of it. The other origination has more of a spiritual concept behind it, giving thanks to our thunder beings, and that has a whole completely different purpose. A ceremony that's done a couple times a year for a direct purpose that I won't really get into, but there is that's another reason for that. And then of course the modern day origination of smoke dance is to kind of, it's good medicine, you know what I mean, to laugh and share our songs. We don't use the ceremonial songs that we would use. A lot of the songs that we have sang that you'll commonly hear are social dance songs, some of our own, some that we have also adopted from other tribes. And the original speed of that was slow. of course, for the men. Wasase, that's what they call that. And those are the songs that we don't bring into ceremony. They have their own different meaning for that. But yeah, so the social dance songs, still for the men, you will still keep that slow beat. And for the women, you won't see those songs sung for us. We'll either open up with some Escanye or go right into the fast social dance songs. And that's all that the women will dance to. But you want to emulate, the men really want to emulate those movements of in war. You know, like you're hunting on for somebody, your enemy, or you're hiding. You know what I mean? You don't want to leave that trail neither. And you want to protect one another, your village. So that's one thing. Or you can emulate those movements of a hunt. You know, so you'll keep your emotions really low to the ground, and you're looking about and quiet. And the women, we don't really have motions. Because I was always told that this was a man's dance, I was never encouraged to dance like a woman. And I've never danced like a woman. Time and place, in Longhall, St. Tonawanda, I will dance like a woman. But for the most part, I've always had that upbeat energy. I'm a little crazy. I have a lot of spirit. And that's something that I will never change. So for myself, I will never ever tell anybody you're doing it wrong. You're dancing too feminine, you're dancing too masculine, because that's what dance is, it's interpretation. And every song is gonna move you different. It's not gonna move you the same. Something might make you dance a little bit more feminine, and then something might bring out that inner warrior, that modern day warrior that we really aren't as women, but you feel it, you know? So there's a lot of power behind dance. And that's just kind of what I do. I just kind of go with the flow. I've been dancing since I was 3, and just kind of born dancing. My grandmother, my great-great-grandmother, had arthritis, and she was stuck in bed from when I was a little girl. I was fortunate to have those 3 years with her, only because my aunt babysat me. So my aunt was my athletic guidance, and she was also my spiritual guidance. She, from a little girl, had me visiting elders. She was strong in language, she was strong in culture, and so my whole family, that's born and raised, that's where I got it from. There wasn't a day that I was not hearing it, living it, breathing it, dancing it, everything. So to bring joy, obviously, we take care of our children and we take care of our old people, our elders. That's important. So to bring joy to my grandmother, who was very, 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 very sick, my auntie would always sing for me, and I would, it's kind of like my purpose, I guess, to this day, is to dance for people. To me, that brings me the biggest joy. You can go and sign that registration form all you want, and submit that to the powwow, and dance your butt off all weekend long, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, and at the end, wait for your name to get called to that pay window. But when those people that are sitting there watching you, and they come forth and tell you, wow, you really moved me when you danced. Wow, I really felt your spirit when you danced. Wow, you have a lot of energy. You made me feel really good. That's what I take home with me, because I can spend money. I lost it in Florida. So that comes and goes. Those feelings don't ever come and go. They go with you everywhere you go, from one weekend to the next, one day to the next. So that's what I encourage you always to do, is to go there and dance for those people. Because there's a lot of people that can't. There's a lot of people that want to, that are shy, and they just, they can't come out of their shell to do that. And that's what our job is, the ones that carry that spirit, is to share that with everybody else. So, yeah, I guess that's about it, unless you want me to include anything else.
Now, do you want to play the music first, or do the steps first?
It doesn't really matter. If you want to, are you guys all familiar with smoke dance? It's pretty fast beat. You're pretty familiar with it? Some singers are not always gonna sing really, really fast. You know, some of them have a little bit slower tempo, while others are gonna rip you to challenge you, especially me.
You guys want to give us one, do one for us?
just so happens you have the drums, so guess it's your turn.
Okay, then you guys can explain, or which is what type of song it is.
If you want to sing a men's one first, so they can tell the difference between the men and what the
Jump up there, I got you.
everyone will dance.
You have to say your name. This is Kaya Little Turtle. We are very, very blessed that we have a group from Lumbee Country. So they're going to sing some examples of the songs that we just talked about.
You say you want me to start with a men's dance first and show
Yeah,
So just do
show
it.
like a wasase, a war dance, so that they have the idea of what the slower tempo means. So that's the men's war dance. Obviously the slower beat. So the men really only kind of do a hop to that. And they will gradually move around, but they stay pretty low to the ground. You know, and they're looking about. Some might shoot their arrow, you know, stuff like that. But that's strictly only for men. The women won't ever dance that one.
Chandler shoots the bow. That's you over there. That's his go-to. He's always shooting the arrows. Unlimited arrows.
Hopefully. I don't know how many you can shoot in like 30 seconds, but
You'd be surprised.
So the next song would be...
So commonly after that, you'll get your fast smoke dance song. And that's what everybody across the board can dance to, men or women, children, you know. And those are all social dance songs. And they're pretty fast.
Do you want to give us a short one? And then you gonna dance, Val? She's gonna show you, right? Yeah.
On this one?
Sure.
Or do you want to hear it first?
Let's hear it first. You want to do one more verse and then you can dance to this one.
Yep. And then so what you're basically trying to do for this is you're going to want to keep the tempo of the beat, right? And use your own interpretation of how you feel that song might move you. And that's what brings the originality of dancing, especially to the contest, is you don't want to look like everybody else out there. You want to bring your own character to the song. So however you feel that moves, I always encourage everyone, it's a 2 beat on each foot, okay? And you're just gonna do that to keep up with the beat. But commonly what people get caught up with is, especially if you're a power dancer, is we go up for power dance. Where for longhouse, it's awkward because we kind of go down, and that's where you find people trying to get that balance, especially back home. For longhouse people, everyone wants to, you know, and they're on the downbeat versus going up for power, because that's just how our movements are. We commonly go down. We're central to the ground. So that's all that you want to do is 2 beats on each foot. That's what I encourage until you can get that rhythm. And then you can incorporate however you want to do that. You can spin at that time. Okay? So.
And then can you explain like the hops that are in the song?
Yep, the hops, they're going to be different for every song. They're not always going to be in the same spot, but you can kind of feel when they're coming on. And you can do whatever you want to that. You can actually hop. I'll do different steps to that. But you can really interpret it how you want, however you really want to move it. Commonly, the common movements for our people when we dance, a lot of them will put their hands on their hips. A lot of the men just keep them out like that, or like this, or like they're swaying a club, kind of like that, out. And it's more like that. When you see me do this, commonly everyone thinks I'm looking for something, but that was my great grandmother's. She did that in the longhouse with a guy from Class-Escanye. His name is Stephen McCumber. That was something that they did, and that's the reason I do that. I just kind of have my own little tidbits of how I like to remember her. I'll never be able to dance like those old people back then. Those old people could dance. We dance nothing like they do now. And we're fortunate enough when we come together for ceremony, we can see some of those older men and women still dance. It's nasty. They can dance. Like, that's dancing. I just make it look cool. They probably laugh at me, but they can dance. Those men and women can dance. And they were kind of like old school kind of jig moves. Their body moved in a completely different way than we do now. And it's cool to see if you actually get to see it. Yeah. But
Okay, so one more verse, and then do the basic step. Then you can show how you add in your own steps.
Are you doing a full song? So you see how my feet were just
1 2 1 2 1 2 1 2.
Okay.
All right, so everyone, we're gonna stand up now, and we're gonna get the basic step down, and then we'll try to add some moves in there. Get creative. Okay, I need you to record this part. Then you can have your chips. I like chips. Okay.
I just got my boots on today. I don't want to go over my socks.
You take those off and then you'll be nice and fast. It's like
That's
weights.
what it is.
It's a good trick. Okay.
Yes, I wear
Starting on the right.
Yeah. So starting with the right foot. Okay. It's 2 beats on each foot. You got it. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I don't know anybody that doesn't have it. You guys are good. Okay? So, what helps me is my son thinks he dances on his toes. And you don't. He dances very flat-footed. And most men do. But there are a few that do dance on their toes. And that definitely does help to give you that ability to kind of like move. They encourage that even in athletics, you know what I mean? Don't sit on your heels because then you can't move. So that's what I will always encourage, is to at least dance on the balls of your feet so that you can move. It increases your speed as long as you don't roll an ankle.
Right. And then once they do the hops, then after that, it's usually that 1 2 3, like where it's the, like your honor beat in a way.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. Yep. And that, there isn't anything that you can't do, really, because the beat is slower. So find whatever is comfortable with you. I will do a variety of things. I'll just kick, like how I did like that, or even just one foot you can kick. You could go like that. You can crisscross. Whatever you're most comfortable with. Like I said, it's dance. You can't do anything wrong, really. So it's your own interpretation of that.
All right, y'all want to try one? Okay, one other thing. Which way? In powwow we go clockwise. So in smoke, which way do they go?
We go this way.
Okay, counterclockwise.
Yeah. So even I will say, because I have danced powwow for as long as I was little too, so I'm accustomed to going this way. My aunt hates me for it. Okay? She's really strict traditionally, so she don't really hate me, but she's like, you're dancing the wrong way. So it's taken her a long time to accept the fact that I go that way, but I mean, when in Rome,
Right.
you know, so but when I am doing smoke dance, I try my hardest to be mindful and go that way. I have not had anybody approach me and, you know, kind of give me a hard time about it. And if I did, you know, I would, you know, obviously be respectful, but just kind of explain to them that I'm doing my best to still, in my own traditional garb, still be respectful to my people, but I don't want to be disrespectful to the area that I'm at either. I fully know exactly where I'm at when I'm out there. So, but yeah, I try to be mindful of that, just so that there's only one time of year that we dance backwards, and that's at ceremony for our dead feast. So that's mostly why it's kind of frowned upon that I go that way. Yeah.
Okay, let's see if we can do it. So we're gonna go this way.
But I mean, even if you go this direction, you're still free to move wherever you want. You're not limited as long as that's the motion, our flow.
To make your body go, because we dance powwow all the time, and I get so nervous for smoke, and everyone's like, why are you so nervous? You dance fancy, you should be in shape. But it's different muscles, it's a different movement. So I'll find myself
nervous every time.
I get hung up when I start doing that, like that, and then I start spinning, and it's hard for me to go back from doing this to the
I
yeah.
can't move, but I can just spin. That's all I
See,
can
and
do.
I hear a lot of people say that you just spin more because, you know, your dress goes out, looks really nice. Well,
I have to consciously tell myself to, for both categories, to spin.
right?
Because naturally my feet just want to move. And then I'm like, oh yeah, I can spin.
Well, since we're all standing up, now we can come in and look at the mannequin. This is an outfit that was made by Seneca Moses, and she's from Syracuse. She's amazing.
Tonawanda.
Yeah, this is raised beadwork. Jerry, you
I zoomed in.
okay. Raised beadwork.
I'm
I
lazy.
got the velvet in New York. I loved the color. Velvet will be used. You wanna?
It's more, everything is more modern. All of our traditional clothing is completely basic. It's cotton and ribbons, and that's it. That's what we wear. I mean, people
This
are
is
getting-
contest, yeah.
People
This
are
is not
getting
for
a
the
little bit more
longhouse.
bold and wearing some of the beads in longhouse, but traditionally, everything is really, really basic. There is no beads, no metal. When we pass away, our traditional garb is completely plain. We can't have any beads or metal on there. If there is, we have to take it off. When we do play the game that we play a couple times a year, and we bet certain items, traditional items, they can't have beads or metal on them as well. So everything, all of our traditional clothing and items are all without the beads. Tuscarora is amazing artist with raised beadwork, and that's kind of where that like type of showmanship, I guess I would call it, in craft for beads, raised beadwork has really come from and developed from, and it's a lot more fancy. It's raised. Some people do it. There's a few different ways that you can do it. You can cheat and totally put a strip underneath it and bead over that. Other than that, you just basically lay your beads over, and it's pretty easy. So obviously, whatever you want to call it, a cape or a yoke, that's what the women will wear. Sometimes the men will wear that too as well, but shape variety, varies. There is not
We've
one.
seen vest, and you guys have seen all this.
There's not one type of way that you actually have to wear it. Some people, the women commonly will wear a purse. The men will actually a knife sheath or a pouch of some sort. Some of them will actually carry the holster with the arrows in it, to emulate those movements, and that's for the men. The women, we always have our skirt and our leggings, and of course our moccasins. It's hit or miss. Some people are not comfortable with wearing cloth, so you don't necessarily have to have that as well, but in most cases the women will have those, and then you can kind of like the more you have on, the better, I guess, so to speak. The more
it pops out.
Yeah, I mean, you stand out. People are getting a lot more bolder with even the velvet colors. You go to Joann's and it's going to be so basic. You go to New York City and you're going to have a variety of colors. You go to the fashion district in LA and you've got your pick. So it's really up to you. Traditionally, we use broadcloth. That's what I grew up dancing in, and I remember that it was so itchy and uncomfortable as a little girl, and hot, and it wasn't lined like fancy material is now. So, and I actually had a wraparound skirt. That's what most of our women actually wore back in the day.
That's how my grandmother was.
Yeah, so, and it's not so common anymore because of sewing machines and whatnot. It's so much easier to just do your slit up the middle. But yeah, everything is pretty basic from our traditional to our modern day clothes now.
Okay. Any questions? All right. We're going to get more into the dancing because we have Val here, so we have to take advantage. I don't. You guys, didn't get to see the smoke dance? No, because it was held on Sunday at Lumbee. It was awesome. Look at my Facebook page. They ended up taking the top winner from the men and the top winner from the women and had them battle, and he didn't stand a chance. I mean, I already knew that. I was like, I bet that guy's nervous, but she tore it up. And a lot of the dances and moves that you guys do, like, what was the one move that you said? Oh, you were gonna do the what's it called?
Oh, yeah, I was gonna floss, but
So we're even show you.
I want to do it, but I know I'll get yelled at for it. So
She did a little.
That little trick song's like perfect for all them little, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I try to be. I mean, it depends on like Kea. He's saying the song. Some people will not put all 4 pauses in that song. Some people might do it on the 2 and the 4, and go straight through on the 1 and the 3. I personally, that's my favorite how he sang it, so that you can be a little bit more creative. And to me, the more creative I can be, I like to challenge myself. Put me in a situation where I'm out there by myself. I literally am out there. That's all I focus on. Put me out there with somebody else, we're gonna have some fun because I like to have fun, you know, and make it a contest, especially male versus female. Women rule the world. Everyone knows that, but we just got to make a point of it when we're in that situation. So the guy that I actually danced off with is a relative of mine, but he and my son are close in age, and they're actually very, very close. Period. So he's often at our house. So that's like one of my other kids right there. So I tried to be gentle, you know.
She wasn't. It was awesome.
I tried to be gentle, you know. He's a good kid. He's a really good kid, and he's very knowledgeable for his age, in language and in culture. He's got a lot of knowledge for how what a young man he is. So I try to be gentle on Sequoia.
Do you want to do the foot? How you do your feet for the like just for the regular Escanye part?
Sure. For that, our feet always stay central to the ground, and it's a shuffle. Back long ago, before we did this movement, our women just went back and forth like that, and that is a workout. That's a workout and a half. That's worse than a side step, I swear. Yeah. You know. So, but yeah.
Do they when they get in line? Is it from oldest to youngest? How does that?
Some people will. Yeah, usually the older women tend to get up there first, only because their love of dance is still there, just much like ours. So the way I was taught is that those women, you know, get up there first because they're usually going to be the first ones to sit down. When you're left with, towards the end of the dance, it's going to be your young women. But they still want to get up there and dance. And so the way I was taught is that when they're up there dancing, you don't want to rip, you know, sing, you know, upbeat, up-tempo songs. You want to sing really pretty so that they're able to enjoy that as well, because they're not going to stay up there as long as the rest of us. So kind of, you know, be respectful of our moms and our grandmothers that are up there, because they like to dance too. So yeah, so it'll generally be a little bit slower. And then towards the end, when you can tell that they've all kind of sat down, then you can kind of have some fun and pick up the tempo and kind of jam us out a little bit. But for the most part, our feet will always stay on the ground, and it's a soft, gentle, elegant dance. That's when we are cradling our babies and we're picking our garden. You know what I mean? You might be washing your clothes, because back then we washed it in the water, right? We didn't throw it in the laundry. So you want to emulate those movements, and that's when the time and the place, I say, for our women's roles, because they're very different from men. Our men are out there hunting and they're fishing and, you know, keeping our village safe, while we are doing the gardening and tending to the babies and the cooking, you know, things like that, of that nature. Even with lacrosse, like war dance, women back home don't play lacrosse. It's a men's game. It's for the men. It's built for the men, because we don't have that physique that the men do. Our bodies are made delicately and gently, and our main role is to reproduce. So we don't want to do anything that's going to infringe or damage that. That's what we're here for, is to create our life. So that's what we really want to be respectful of our bodies for. So that's the whole purpose of showing that appreciation and thankfulness for women's dance, is because we've got a really big role here. So yeah.
Okay, so then at the beginning of the song, like it would be like with the leads. Same with powwow, how they have leads. How many verses does each song go, or does it
Two.
differ?
It just turns over once. So you start the song and we go, obviously, like everything is a circle of life. So we all automatically start walking, and you can kind of move with how that beat is gonna kind of make you step. And then once it starts, that's when your shuffle starts, and you're able to move around, and you're gonna cradle your baby, or you're gonna pick your berries, or you know, you're gonna be in your garden. At a certain part of the song, that's when we rotate out. Okay, so we're gonna be facing in commonly, and we rotate out. and then we come back into the circle.
Question, so you never go 360?
Nope, we don't ever spin all the way around. No. It's just a rotation out and back in.
And then at what point does it change where you'll hear the beat change in that verse. And then that's when I've seen some where they change their footwork and it goes front to back. Is that a given?
mean?
Or you want to start the song and then...
It's a workout how you did that.
They don't feel it because they're young.
Yeah, you get to be my age, it's a little bit hard. I can do it maybe one song, 2 tops if I'm really feeling it. It's a
Okay.
workout.
Also, that was good. All right, so then now do you want to, let's keep, since all the girls are up here, let's try again a slow smoke dance song. And then we'll try to, after that, we'll try to show you where we can add in like some of the extra crisscrosses or the kicks and get those pauses down. We really want to thank Kaya and the guys. You guys are awesome. We have live singers.
Alright.
You guys can do it. It's so
One, two, one, two, one, two, one, two, one, two, one, two. You got it. 1, 2, 1, 2. Good job. Hey, good job. Crisscross. Good job. Good job. All right. Just like powwow, it's important, they say, to get the hops and to make sure you stop on time. So that can make it or break it, definitely. Okay, and then you guys want to get up and dance? Your turn.
Go ahead.
Hey, Brenna, do you got anywhere else to spin out at?
Yeah, take her that can.
I'll look out for you.
We want to thank everyone for tuning in. I hope is your video on you or?
I don't know where it's at.
We want to give a shout out to who took the picture?
Oh, Dino.
Dino Downwind. He is an amazing photographer. Look him up, like it, share it. And Samantha Moses, that's a bow she did. She's amazing. Solon, we miss you. Okay, so which song are you gonna do first?
I I can do a half and half. They can start off with the war dance, then go into smoke dance.
Sounds great.
Y'all ready?
Don't get too close now. No, I'm just kidding. He's looking at that. Right.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Now the one thing that you guys forgot, if you all are going to war, do you not want to let...
Where you at, Chandler?
Yeah! Where's my warriors at?
They were sneaking the entire time.
Sneak up. In a lot of our dances, no matter if it's powwow or if it's smoke dance, or a lot of them are telling a story, especially for the men. And so even with the men's traditional, there's Lonnie Street back there. He's always telling a story of a hunt or a raid or, just part of their journeys. And it's just really awesome watching the dancers as they grow, because as you grow, you will have more experiences in life, and so you'll have more of a story to tell. So a tiny tot dancer may just know the basic footwork, whereas, if you're experienced like Valerie, then she's had many travels, and so she has lots of steps to show that journey. So real quickly, we're going to show how a couple of Valerie specialty moves. Hey, I'm trying to learn. She's just going to show how elaborate your moves can be from the basic. Do the basic step again. Ready? The 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, spin.
Yeah, it's fast.
And you can spin and hop, hop. Those are the basic steps. But then as it gets more, you can kick to that. It's almost like an honor beat. That I don't know what another word is there a word that they call it?
That's pretty good.
It's like your downbeat. Okay, the hard downbeat you'll hear. It's just like in an honor beat where you're going to choose a signature move to catch the eye of the judges. So let's see, just one verse and show just how elaborate the moves can be. You should get up. Get with her. We like to see a battle here.
Battle.
Awesome. Yay. That's awesome. Good job. Are there any questions? There are lots of other social dances. There's tons.
Yeah.
And so there's different formations. It might not be all women. There are times there's man, then a woman, correct?
Yeah.
So we can't get into all of those different dances today, but I just want to thank Valerie Parker for coming. And we're going to keep the class going a little bit, but we're going to sign off for now. So, see. Bye. Raven Street Dance Studio.